Oh, great. We're going to get along great. This is going to be great.
This is Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
Crowd is here, about to blow, waiting for me to start the show. Out the curtain, lights go up from home. Whoa!
With Harbaugh's deal getting done and it being what it is, how does that affect the Green Bay situation, if at all?
No bearing at all. The Packers and Matt LaFleur have been working on an extension. They've been talking. I think it's gone a couple of different ways here. I think right now, the way it was described to me earlier today, I think the expectation and belief is that he's expected back in Green Bay and excited about that opportunity. That's the belief on both sides. So until we hear different, I think we operate under the assumption that he's going to be back and they're going to figure it out. Okay? They're working on trying to get it done. That's what I would expect to happen right now, but they're not done. So until they're done, we'll see. But I believe they're going to work it out.
That's Adam Schefter yesterday on the Pat McAfee show saying, yeah, I think they're going to work it out. But what I think he's absolutely nuts to think is that John Harbaugh's deal doesn't play a factor into it. Yeah, it does. We'll talk more about that today. Inside Wisconsin Sports, Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht.
Hi.
Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Josh, I don't know about you, but if I found out that one of my cohorts was making, I don't know, $8 million more per year than I was making doing the same job, I'd have a little problem.
Yeah, you might bring that up at the negotiation. Might just mention it.
The fact that they don't think that that's playing into this is bonkers to me. It may not be about the ultimate dollar figure for Matt LaFleur. That's what came out yesterday was indeed it's close on the money, but apparently it's not close, or the problem could be the number of years on the deal, which to me sounds like a money problem, because if they're offering a dollar amount, but they, as in the Packers, aren't willing to commit 5 years to it instead of just a year or two, well, that means they don't want to spend that much money on something that they're quite unsure of at the moment.
Right. And it's a weird situation for us as fans, because I feel like we're used to, when these negotiations are taking place, it being something that was very, very successful that we are afraid we're going to lose because someone else is going to pay more money than a Wisconsin sports team would. And that's not the mindset. I think a lot of us are going, all right, they're either going to get this done or good riddance. And so
pretty much.
And so for it to be a situation where you're hearing, well, Matt LaFleur might want more money, I think a lot of us are going, for what?
Well, here for sure. That's the problem, because if he left and didn't sign an extension with the Packers, and the Packers ultimately let him out of the last year of his contract, which would be silly at this point, by the way, but I digress.
Yeah.
There's a lot of openings, and the talk is that Matt LaFleur would be able to go wherever he wants and get paid pretty much how much ever he wants. That's what Shefty went on to say as we play catch-up, Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks, and other here on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Oh, there's a market for Matt LaFleur.
It just feels like there's a market, that you know exactly how much you should pay, guy.
Pat, there will be a big market for Matt LaFleur, because if the Green Bay Packers don't work it out, I'm telling you right now, Matt LaFleur would get more money from other teams, and there would be multiple teams, in my mind, that would be willing to step in and offer draft pick compensation to the Green Bay Packers to get it done. So,
yeah, LaFleur's people know that, LaFleur's people know that that's the case, and this will lead perfectly to the next question. So they're definitely saying that to the Packers. This is just classic negotiation. Here's the comps. Here's exactly what I am owed. Here's how successful I am. The fact that they don't have an owner, okay, so they have access to a vault of money, and they know exactly what a fair market deal would be for him now, especially after the Harbaugh deal is signed. It's like, okay, this is easily done then.
Maybe.
I mean, I think that does kind of how it's going to play out. I think that is the end of the equation. But it is kind of fun to think about. All right, I mean, what could we get for him? I don't know. What
is that an
the
awkward
draft?
spot for Goody?
Oh, it would be for us. I don't think that it necessarily is for him because that's his job, right? Like that's what he's done.
Well, but they're on that level reporting structure. And so are GMs tradable? Maybe that's the question. I was thinking about this yesterday. If the head coach is tradable, is a GM tradable? And I'm not saying that I think Goody should be traded, but if Goody's job is to get draft picks and or develop draft picks and do all the things that go into being a GM, and one of those two jobs, the head coach being the one, is tradable, and the GM's job is to go and, make the team better, is he part of the conversation that says, we could trade Matt LaFleur and probably get a first or second round pick for him?
I mean,
which we could really use right now, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, I think for sure at this point, you'd think based on all the hype and the talk that you might be able to get a second. I don't know enough about, I'd have to do research on what the best bundle in NFL history, a trade for a coach has been, but I would be very surprised if someone was going to trade their first round pick for a coach.
What did Denver get or trade or give up, I should say, for...
I'm sure a first round pick right after I
said We'll figure it out. At the end of the day, the main holdup appears to be the number of years on Matt LaFleur's contract. That reporting is tied to Tom Silverstein, saying that LaFleur may be seeking something more like a longer-term deal, whereas the Packers have reportedly been more comfortable offering only a year or two in additional.
Yeah, okay. So there have been multiple times that a first-round pick has been traded. For a coach, Bill Parcells to the Jets was for a first-rounder and more. Bill Belichick to the Patriots for a first-rounder and more in 2000. Gruden to the Buccaneers for two firsts for Gruden in 2002. And most recently was Sean Payton to the Broncos.
All first rounders?
So Sean Payton was a first, second, and third. That's nuts. Okay, tell me right now, if there's a Packer fan out there, I don't care what side, just you look at this, you say, hey, I don't care who the team is.
Mm-hmm.
They say, we'll give you our first, second, and third round picks in this year's draft.
What do you say when we start the
LaFleur.
show, when we say your name? Hi. I would say, bye.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. I mean,
hey, good run.
Even if he was good, even if we weren't mad at Matt LaFleur at all, I think that's just based on the fact that we just traded away them for Micah Parsons to be able to get some of that back.
But who are we going to get better? Who are we going to get better, Josh? That's whatever.
A draft pick.
Or two or three.
Yeah.
Speaking of better, the Bucks, not so much better last night.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about.
All right, moving on. Brewers, baseball's got to be making you happy.
No, we can move on.
Okay. Well, wait a minute. Yes, there's some baseball news.
Yes.
I know we're going to get to that in a little bit
yes,
here.
We are.
So
essentially, let me just, to everyone listening, let me just open the curtain for a minute. We have a jam-packed show today. We have an absolutely jam-packed show. You're not going to want to move away from the radio for the next 3 hours. But it's not every day, but there are a lot of days where I need to vent. I need to get it out. I'm angry. And we're so busy today. I literally had to ask Trevor, when can I be mad today? And that's going to be happening during the most electrifying sound. So that's when we're talking about it. Because
that was literally the conversation. Morning, Josh. How are you? Well, first off, Josh needs to know that there are things called meteorologists in this world.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We all, other than Josh, knew that it was going to. You know who all knew, Josh, that it was going to snow last night?
Who?
The entire state of Wisconsin. Everywhere
everybody? You're telling me I'm the only person who doesn't check the weather app before they go to bed?
Duluth Superior, winter weather advisory. Wausau, Green Bay and the Fox Valley, Milwaukee. If you look at a driving conditions map right now, slippery.
Yeah, it's rough out there. Be careful.
Which Josh told me at 5 a.m., by the way.
I mean,
5 a.m. is usually
fun.
when Josh and I meet and go, hey, dude, how are you? What's going on? Here's the rundown. 5 o'clock today, I got a text. Oh, by the way, the roads are really bad.
That's awful. So I'm slipping and sliding out here. Trevor's like, yes, the roads are bad. I was like, oh, you knew. Okay.
Yep, sure did. Oh, man. I just got a text from a buddy of mine that's an Uber driver. And he says, for a first, a second, and a third round pick, let me know where to pick Coach up. I'll get him to the airport.
This is what I'm saying.
Oh,
should be
great.
you know what? Like, what would be? So, wrestling fans, $1 Million Man, quote him all the time. Everyone has a price for the $1 Million Man. What would be the price that even if you wanted Matt LaFleur back, no matter how bad you wanted Matt LaFleur back, what would be that price that you would say, okay, I can't deny that? If a team was going to put together a draft pick package. I mean, to me, it doesn't even have to be multiple. If someone said, I will give you 1 first-round pick for Matt LaFleur, I would say, yep, okay.
And we've had a lot of conversation about the case for Matt LaFleur. A lot of the players have said they want to keep Matt LaFleur. There's been multiple reports about this, that, and the other thing. Gruden, Greg Olson, Aaron Nagler from Cheesehead TV. There's a lot of reasons that I can understand we would want to keep Matt LaFleur. Someone could also say, well, Goody's track record with a first or second round pick hasn't been very good.
Fair.
Across the NFL, that's probably a case. If you don't get one of the top 5 picks, I think it's kind of a trap shoot. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. That's not an excuse, it's just reality. And we don't have a first-round pick this next season, meaning this April, or next year.
Correct.
So if we can get one, and there's a chance that helps us elevate this. Look, Josh, if the injuries don't happen, and we get another impact player in the first round,
yeah,
I don't care who the coach is.
That's what I'm saying. Especially, again, I understand this is a much more difficult hypothetical conversation to have. If the Packers made it to the divisional round and they lost playing for a chance to go to the NFC Championship game, right? If we were like, man, Matt LaFleur found a way to take this team almost to the NFC Championship game with all these injuries, we are lucky to have him as our coach. If that was the conversation we had to end the season, then maybe it's a little bit more difficult to play out this hypothetical of trading him for draft picks. But that's not what we had. We had a very frustrating, this guy has led this team to another 7th seed first round exit. And now you're telling me that I could get a first round pick for him?
I know.
I
know.
Okay.
We 100% can, by the way. That absolutely, there's a team out there that has a coaching vacancy that's willing to pay Matt LaFleur what he wants, give him the number of years what he wants, and they would be willing to give us a first-round pick. I think that is the most plausible argument I've heard so far as to why this is not a done deal yet.
Yeah, and someone will say, okay, but then who's going to be the head coach of the team? And not that I don't value who the coach of the team is, but I mean, just get somebody. Like,
see, now isn't that funny? Because all week people have been like, well, who are you going to get that's better? A first round draft pick.
Right.
Any other questions?
I think trying to, like, if you take it out of football for a second, it would kind of be like, hey, we're going to give you this 2025 car. It's the best car on the lot. Okay. And then someone goes, we're going to make a huge chunk of a payment towards your house. And you go, oh, can I keep the car? No. But we'll give you this like 97 Corolla. We'll still get you there. You go, and you're going to pay part of my house? Okay, buy a 2025 car.
Yeah, see ya.
Give me that Corolla, pay off my house.
JB in the 920. I met him at Margaritas here in Green Bay when 9 to noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff broadcast live, as too did Mitch Thunder Nellis in the Mason Crosby Show. JB also drives Uber in the morning. He and my buddy Mike actually connected and bonded over their little Uber experiences. JB has been a staunch supporter of Matt LaFleur, and sometimes in all caps on this Nicolay Law fan talking text line, 414-677-1250. Even JB in the 920 says, I'm kind of with Mike. As much as I support Matt LaFleur, I'll ride with him, and I'll carry the bags, and I'll get the door. That's tough. This is going to get squirrely. We have questions today for Andrew Brandt. Andrew Brandt was the Russ Ball, the director of football operations and a Packers VP. Not sure what his title was specifically at that point, but there's a very famous picture of Andrew Brandt being at the table when Aaron Rodgers signed his first contract. He's been there, done that, has the experience, the ins and outs, and the insight to help us understand what's going on with this whole contract conversation. We chat with him at 8 a.m. this morning here on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Packers, Badgers, they play Saturday versus Rutgers. Did you see this whole point shaving thing with college basketball?
I did, and I went, okay, so it's back. So
it's only going to get worse.
Just in time for March Madness. Isn't
Perfect.
it kind of like there's no way they just found this out? Like, are these reports too now becoming more timely? It's just like why didn't this come out before the NFL playoffs started? Why did this wait until college? They started getting some buzzer beaters around the league.
We're all just puppets in the scheme of sports life, Josh. That's why.
That's how it feels.
Not talking Bucks because they're absolutely awful. Spurs last night went on a 23-2 run or a 22-3 run or whatever it was. I don't think Giannis played in the fourth quarter for the second game in a row, which means Doc Rivers, per Giannis in the post-game presser, said that he only played 21 minutes last night. It was a blowout, and coach made a decision. Ugh. Josh, we're at the point now with the Milwaukee Bucks where the head coach, who we'll have some conversation about later in this very show, is making decisions based on the amount of points the other team is ahead to not play the superstar.
Yeah, I mean, it's so broken. I don't know how it can get more broke. And every time I say that, Doc finds new ways. Not good.
Pat Murphy started his statewide tour yesterday. Somebody texted in on the Nicolay Law fan talk and text line, 414-677-1250. The 414 says, I went to the Pat Murphy event in Brookfield last night. He is a riot. He cracks jokes like Bob Uecker used to. He really ripped Sal Frelick, a good one apparently. They're friends. And it really made me excited for the 2026 season. That's Jeff in Fox Point. Well, get excited about 2026 because 2027 not looking good.
Nope, sure isn't.
Marquette plays tonight at DePaul, 7:30. UWGB versus Cleveland State last night. Another big dub for UWGB. I woke up at 2 a.m. to a text from Doug Gottlieb with one letter. W.
Yeah, that stanky quarter zip. Keep it going.
Keep it going.
Yep.
Oakland at GB on Sunday, 1 p.m. at the Crest Center. If you are hearing me, us, anywhere here where I'm at in Northeast Wisconsin, somebody yesterday texted in and said, Josh, your co-host likes GB Phoenix more than Bucks basketball. How do we get rid of him? And I said off air, Josh, I don't think he understands where I live. Josh has all things Bucks. I'm all GB.
Yeah.
You'll get used to it.
Yeah, I mean, also, I like winning. Winning fixes everything. It was a lot more difficult to talk about UWGB last year. We didn't have a show last year. But if we would have, it would have been a lot more difficult. We wouldn't have been highlighting as much if there was nothing to highlight.
Bingo. So let's highlight Doc Rivers, shall we?
No.
In the next segment, I have questions. The question today, and we need your input here. The Nicolay Law fan talk and text line, 414-677-1250. Which coach are we most frustrated by in Wisconsin sports here on January 16th, 2026? Is it Matt LaFleur and all this contract crap? Is it Luke Fickell and the Wisconsin Badgers football team? Is it Shaka Smart in Marquette, who seems to be on a tailspin? Is it Doc Rivers? I can't even get that out without giggling. Is it Doc Rivers?
Yeah.
And the Milwaukee Bucks? It might be. We have questions. We'll answer them next, and we want your response. The Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text Line. 414-677-1250. It's Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Hey, drive safe. It's slippery.
In case you didn't know.
Would switching back to the prior power structure under Bob Harlan in the Packers front office help or hurt the Pack? Find out when Matt Schneidman of the Green Bay Press-Gazette joins 9 to noon with former Packers fullback John Kuhn this morning at 10 a.m. on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. We are inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, and we're live from those very Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We, too, will talk about that very thing later in today's show at 7:40-ish. I call it the love triangle. Goody, LaFleur, and Russ Ball all reporting to Ed Policy. Is that the way? Or, per Rob Demoski, who thinks Ed Policy would like to go back to the old way. Well, what's the current way around the NFL?
Mm-hmm.
And why would we go back versus just stay where we're at? We'll also ask that very thing of Andrew Brandt at 8 a.m. For now, we have questions.
When things just don't add up, Trevor and Josh ask the hard questions or just point out how messed up stuff is.
I only have one question.
Can you fly this plane and land it?
Surely you can't be serious.
Do you view this season as a failure?
You asked me the same question last year.
What's the most important question the Badgers have to answer Saturday?
This is a great question. Oh my God, this is a great question.
It's time for I Have Questions on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
The Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text Line, 414-677-1250. Who are you, as a Wisconsin sports fan, most frustrated with? Is it Matt LaFleur? Is it Doc Rivers? Is it Shaka Smart? Is it the Badgers and Luke Fickell?
Yeah, we're looking for specifically like it's a coach. What coach are you most frustrated with? Not just like in general with Wisconsin sports, but what coach? Because I think
I just named off 4 coaches.
Yeah.
Did I not?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You asked the question of who are you most frustrated with in Wisconsin sports? And we're mad at a lot of coaches. Which one are we most frustrated with? I hate that we have to have that question, ask that question this morning, but it's valid. And I think a lot of people, as far as who's their number one, it's not equal across the board.
The 920, real quick, on the Nicolay Law Fan Talking Text Line, 414-677-1250. Easily Matt LaFleur.
Yeah.
The 414 right behind him. I would trade Matt LaFleur for not much.
Yeah. Thank you. Yep. Yeah.
So Matt LaFleur, 2 votes. Who are you most frustrated by, Josh? I think I know
Doc
yours.
Rivers. It's not even.
Yeah.
And trust me, I want my answer to be Rich Bisaccia. I can't have it. Doc Rivers is so bad. It is organizational crippling how bad Doc Rivers is right now. You can't even, when he didn't have Giannis, this team was losing by 9. Now you have Giannis and this team is out of the game by the start of the 3rd quarter. How does he have a job?
And how has it gotten this bad?
That's what I'm saying. If without Giannis, without the person who will get you the most points, you were losing games. You just couldn't hold on to the game. You kept it close and then lost it in the 4th quarter. Now you get him back and you're getting just wiped away. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
Listening to you guys from Superior, Wisconsin, while shoveling sidewalks at multiple Quick Trips. Currently getting hammered by snow up there, but you guys are making it a little bit better. We appreciate you, 715. Thanks for listening. How does Doc still have a job, says the 920.
That's what I'm saying.
The 608, which is normal based on area code, would say Fickell. Unquestionably most frustrated with Luke Fickell. And now back to the 920, Lulu LaFleur, because the Packers mean more. Do you know what that's in reference to?
No.
So when Matt LaFleur got here 7 years ago,
yeah,
he changed the entire getup that the coaching staff and front office wear in terms of their Packers sideline gear and so forth. Not all of it, can't speak to all of it, but I know for a fact it's switched to Lululemon. So Lulu LaFleur is in reference to that. For me, it's LaFleur, but it's because that blinky thing off in the distance through the window is Lambeau Field. It's where I live. It's what I engage with the most. And for me, it's just frustrating to see a team have the talent on the field that we would absolutely want and need to be successful, minus the injuries, and it's just not been so.
We got the 414 here, said Matt LaFleur for sure. The 2 San Fran games, blowing leads, the Lions to get into the playoffs, and the most recent Bear losses, not even close. I understand the Doc argument. The Bucs should have been blown up 2 years ago. Okay. That still, to me, makes it seem like you care more about LaFleur, but you know the correct answer is Doc Rivers.
Brad in the 414. Whoa, look at this. I know more than was about to read Brad's and 8 more text messages. Yeah. This has got people fired up. Yeah. Okay, here we go.
I had a feeling it might be.
Brad said, if I said I was most disappointed in Doc, that would mean I actually had positive expectations for him.
That's true. When he got hired, I wasn't happy with that decision, but I could have never imagined it'd get this bad.
The 715, not a Wisconsin sports fan, but I love the show. Well, thanks. We appreciate that. As a Sixers fan, I can say that Doc Rivers helps no team and no player. Outside of that, Boston championships, where he arguably had 3 of the best players of that generation, what has he really accomplished?
Yep. Nothing. Not a damn thing. Nick in Greenfield with a good point here. He says, remember a couple years ago when people wanted Greg Gard fired? He seems to be the safest now among all big-time Wisconsin sports coaches. It's a good point. I think that's why Luke Fickell's lower on my list, because like everyone was very mad. I'm not saying that Luke Fickell didn't deserve to lose his job, but McIntosh came out. He made that decision. He said, we're keeping him. We're giving him more money. And I feel like now Luke Fickell's in that, well, he's going to prove us right or prove us wrong spot. And so I'm kind of giving him that. And I feel like Gard was kind of in that spot too, maybe not as badly, but he's proven, I've got this. And right now, the Badger men's basketball team is kind of the savior of what's happening in Wisconsin sports.
Winning helps. You said it earlier. Winning makes all pain go away. The 414, for me, it's Doc. He never draws a play. He just grimaces a lot. The team is lost with him and was a terrible hire to replace a terrible hire. Mm-hmm. And this one's not the GM. That's on ownership. And Giannis, in my belief, last 2 hires was forced down Horst's throat. That's Randy in Greendale.
Yep.
How do you feel about? I love that.
Can't agree more.
Somebody, yep. Not, hey, great point. Not, hey, thanks for the text.
Yep. They nailed it. Yep.
Brad in 414. Fickell is my number 1 most disappointing coach because he's a less successful Gary Anderson right now. LaFleur, number 2. That's been the hardest part of Wisconsin football since the Barry Alvarez era. To say it's been a revolving door might be a bit of a stretch, but there's been very little long-term consistency, not only on the team, but from a coaching perspective as well.
Well, I think at Wisconsin with the football program, it's also been that not only have you had different coaches, but they kind of changed the culture, the mindset, the identity of what a Wisconsin Badgers football team is. And I think that also plays into the attitude and feelings of a lot of people in the Wisconsin Badger fan base. The Bucs, on the other hand, they've had just a legit revolving door. Like it's ever since 2021, it's been, all right, you're in, that didn't work. All right, you're in, that didn't work. All right, you're in, that didn't work. And now we need him they need to push that guy out, and they just let him keep spinning around.
Oh, but don't worry. The new ownership group is just going to make everything better.
Yeah. B. Hintage in the 414 said, Doc Rivers is garbage. He's not even coaching. You know what I say to B. Hintage? Yep.
Annie, the Bucks are getting hard to watch, and I'm a Giannis fan like Josh. They just look so disjointed on the floor right now.
Yeah, it's ugly. It's beyond just not finishing. It's a leadership issue beyond any I've seen.
The 608, it's fickle for sure. Badger games on Saturdays used to be appointment television, and now I can barely watch. You know who didn't get a single vote, nor should he?
Yep. The back-to-back coach of the year.
Pat Murphy.
Yeah. See?
How fun is that?
I don't see Luke Fickell doing a statewide tour. I don't see Doc Rivers out here in a tour bus going from town to town.
I wonder if he's in a tour bus. Who someone was listening earlier. If you're still listening and you went to that event in Brookfield last night, did you see a bus or a minivan? Is he in a Honda Odyssey, or is he?
I hope not.
Hey, Antanasio's got to save money, buddy.
Oh, please. We're focusing on coaches, not owners.
No, but there's no salary cap in baseball. You get to. Do we not want to keep Pat Murphy happy? Is that where? Oh, I think we should get to the most electrifying sound of the day.
Okay, this is it. This is going to be the time.
This is probably going to be something. Hey, Josh, is this next segment going to be good?
It's going to be.
No, that's where you just go, yep.
I
lobbed you one. I lobbed you one.
You should have texted it on a text line. Then I would have said, yep.
Yep. 414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line. If you missed it from baseball yesterday, the Dodgers done did it again. And Josh is over it. That's the most electrifying sound, and that's next here on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Reminder, if you miss any portion of today's show, open up your favorite podcast platform, search Inside Wisconsin Sports, and there you will find any of the shows that Josh and I do together for 3 hours every morning. You can switch to a segment. You can pick an hour. You can listen back to the whole darn thing. Hit follow and search Inside Wisconsin Sports wherever you listen to podcasts. Remember Vonnie Holiday joined us a while back? He's the Today guest on the Inside Wisconsin podcast. It was good to catch up with him again as well. All right. The most electrifying sound is next. Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Good morning.
Yep.
Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Time for today's most electrifying sound of the day. Yep.
It's time for
The most electrifying
sound of the day
The most electrifying
on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Brought to you by Best Electric. Learn more at bestelect.com. Don't stress. Connect with the best.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jamison Coyle, and we've got some big breaking news. The Dodgers have reportedly signed Kyle Tucker to a 4-year, $240 million contract at $60 million per season. That includes opt-outs after years 2, as well as year number 3. The 8-year veteran has recorded 5 straight 20-plus home run seasons and is coming off a 2025 season in which he hit 22 homers and drove in 73 runs for the Cubs, earning his second Silver Slugger Award of his career.
And that report from Jameson Coyle of MLB Network is the most infuriating, electrifying sound of the day, brought to you by our friends at Best Electric. Remember, no job is too big or too small for Best Electric. Don't stress. Connect with the best. Call them today or visit bestelect.com. Baseball is broken. It's just broken.
This is your window. This is your window.
This is it, and I'm taking it. Okay. So this is frustrating beyond anything to where, as a fan, an emotional fan, you get angry, right? Like, now the anger is laughable. Like, you've been angry about it for so long to now when you see it continue to happen, you literally have to laugh to stop yourself from losing your mind. The fact that, first of all, it's not like the Brewers were going to get him, right? Number one free agent contract. It played for the Cubs. They were never going to do that. The Mets, some of these other organizations with a ton of money, were going to be the ones to get him. That's how it's always been. Small market Milwaukee. It's not like we were ever truly in it. But the fact that the Dodgers got him, when the Dodgers and all the reporters are openly even admitting they don't even need him. They don't even need him. He's not even filling a need. It is literally just he's the number one guy available, and so why not?
Let's go get him.
That is the problem. And it's so frustrating as a Milwaukee Brewer fan, being excited. The Packers just lost. I'm looking forward to baseball. I'm excited about what the baseball team is going to be this year. And then the only thing in the back of my mind that I'm sad about is knowing that then they got to the Dodgers and it didn't matter. And now that same Dodgers team just go and just buy people without even, just because. Baseball is broken. I don't see how there isn't a lockout next year. And if there isn't, there should be. This has gotten to a point to where they're literally, Rob Manfred is literally saying, yeah, do something about it. I'm going to keep making money through one team. That's it. Baseball is becoming a joke.
Did Pat Murphy make you feel any better, Josh, when we had him on the show just a few days ago? And he reminded us as Brewers fans that they beat the Dodgers during the regular season.
No.
Swept them, actually.
No, it
and
didn't,
said
it
in the playoffs, he said, we just didn't play well.
No, I think that they could have kept it close. I think there's truly something about Hall of Fame athletes that when it's the postseason, when it's playoff play, they change. You saw it in the NBA from guys like Jimmy Butler. We always talk about like LeBron, how LeBron, they play during the regular season and then all of a sudden, everything changes in the playoffs. I think that applies to all sports and baseball especially. So I was not surprised at all when the Dodgers went from, never being the having home field advantage in their path to the World Series, still took care of business because they had Hall of Fame player after Hall of Fame player that could just turn it on. And now they're adding a potential Hall of Fame player. Tommy Wirtz, you've heard of him?
Yeah,
right?
I heard of him.
Okay, Tommy Changa, for those that don't know, he put out a tweet.
Changa in the franchise.
He literally retweeted someone else's tweet that had listed out all of the players that had like multi-million-dollar contracts with the Dodgers. And it was like, or $100 million contracts. And the tweet had to say, see more. And Tommy said, it infuriates me that I have to click see more to see the rest of the list of all of the $100 million contracts that the Dodgers have on the payroll. There is such a discrepancy, not just between the Dodgers and the Brewers, the Dodgers and the rest of baseball. It's stupid. This is getting to the point where it's just stupid.
Rob Manfred, to Josh's frustration point, came out and said that this is actually our fault. The media. Everyone is acting like 2027 is already doomed, he said, calling it a media rush to negativity. Bro, nothing about this has been a rush to anything. The MLB's current labor agreement, the CBA, expires December 1st, 2026. The clear, unresolved fight is salary cap versus no salary cap. And Tony Clark from the MLBPA has publicly said, that's the Players Association, by the way, he's indicated publicly that the union expects the league to lock players out after the deal ends at the end of this season. Josh, here's the problem. Per Tommy Chonga's retweet, and per your frustration, and per the facts of the matter with the Dodgers, and not only what their payroll is, but how much deferred payroll they have, which is a loophole and a cheat in the system, by the way, but I digress. What's the fix and how? I don't know, not what's the fix. How do they fix it with those things in place? You can't just null and void contracts.
I know. That's the problem. It's not an immediate fix. You can't just slam on the brakes. That's why it's more frustrating that they're going the wrong way. You need to like slowly reel it back in, put some smaller things in place to try to get it back as close as you can back to reality. And then from there, maybe you can apply something that then fixes, quote unquote, fixes something. But right now, you're just pushing it further and further out. You're just making it worse and worse. It's going to make it more and more difficult to reel it back in.
414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line. Are you as annoyed as Josh is? Where do you stand on the whole MLB salary cap thing? Josh and I talked ad nauseum during the season last year. No, we didn't. We weren't together. I talked, and I'm sure you talked about it during the season last year.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we did. We talked about it in October. I was
did.
like, it's January. And I'm like, oh, we weren't. When we were talking about the Brewers winning the World Series last year, that would have been the worst case scenario for the MLBPA. Well, look, we don't need a salary cap. One of the lowest paid payrolls, just one. Now what? Well, now what? We talked to Matt Walker, head coach, UW River Falls. He's up next. The D3 National Football Champs. We're inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
It's time for today's fan weather forecast brought to you by Habish, and Rotier. It's going to be tough road conditions this morning with sleet continuing through the morning in Milwaukee. Today we have a high of 35 degrees and it's currently 25 degrees. And this has been your Habish, and Rotier fan weather forecast.
I am an eternal optimist. So please, God, don't tell me that you're an eternal pessimist.
I like to say I'm a realist.
Oh, it's great. We're going to get along great. This is going to be great.
This is Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
Crowd is here, about to blow, waiting for me to start the show. Out the curtain, lights go up from home. Whoa!
But how about the D3 champs? Wisconsin River Falls.
Wow.
They beat North Central, who we obviously know very well. North Central over the last 6 years has won 96% of their games. Wisconsin River Falls here, at one point they were 0-10. At one point not too long ago, they've never won a national championship before. The other night, they conquer the conquerors, North Central, who's looking to be back-to-back national champions. And now looking out for maybe a dynasty down there in Wisconsin River Falls. There is a player that I know very well, and so do you, that started his entire career over there at River Falls, Owen Schmidt.
Wow.
The beer truck.
What?
Yeah, he went over there, demolish some people, demolish some kids, came over to Morgantown, worked as a bouncer at a bar, earned a scholarship, became the West Virginia Mountaineer legend and icon, and then obviously goes on to play in the NFL. He also does music. He owned a saloon at one point. I mean, an absolutely dynamic human. Started his entire thing over there at River Falls. He was at this national championship because I put a tweet out about good luck to D-Bone's boys, his North Central squad, and I got a tweet back from Owen. It's like, hey, I'm actually here. Where's your – let's have a little respect here.
Hell?
Congratulations to Owen Schmidt and Wisconsin River Falls for winning their first national championship.
What's up, Wisconsin? Welcome inside Wisconsin Sports. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht.
Hi.
Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. That was Pat McAfee on ESPN talking about UW River Falls and head coach Matt Walker taking down North Central to win their first Division III football national championship. UW River Falls 24, North Central 14. Joining us now on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law, one call, that's all. The head coach of that very program. Where's the trophy, Coach Matt Walker?
I actually have it right here.
You got it?
I got it.
There it is. Let's go.
I've been doing so many interviews from right here. I keep the trophy handy because some people want to see it.
It's a good idea. We definitely wanted to see it. Well, first things first, man. Congratulations on what you accomplished with this program since you got here in 2011 is absolutely absurd. Great hat. Congrats on the big dub.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it just took so many people staying committed to this thing. Is, the McAfee thing, you heard it, or if you heard me crying like a baby on the post-game interview on the field, it's like my third year we won no games, and I think we won 3 or 5 games those first 3 years. It was a quite the journey to get here, but yeah, I appreciate a lot of people hanging in there with me.
So that was going to be my first question, and Matt, again, thanks so much for joining us. But was just tell us how you got the program to this point. How did you what was your mindset, and what was the game plan of just changing everything to lead to not just success, but the highest success?
Well, I think it went through some phases. I took the job for a reason. I was at a crossroads in my career. I was actually a head baseball coach for 10 years at the college level as well. And this thing had a lot of reasons why I wanted to be here. It's in a unique location where we're just barely into Wisconsin. We're really a part of the eastern tip of the metro, the Twin Cities. So I think the ability to recruit both states was important to me. It's the best league in the nation. I don't think anybody fights or debates that anymore. That intrigued me. I wanted to be at the top of my profession and thought this league was the answer to that. There's been a history, even though it'd been a while. Again, I took over a program that had not had any success in that last decade. There'd been a pattern of success here. They'd won a lot of titles. The league's been a cycle. Everyone's had their run in this league, as anyone that grows up around Wisconsin knows. Whitewater went on this historical one as of late, but there was a chance to kind of redo the cycle, I thought. And then, there was talks of the new building I'm sitting in right now. There was whispers of that really I thought could change things. And so it just took longer than anybody wanted. But when I first took the job, we didn't even look like a college football team. We had 40-some kids, and we had to start there and look like one. Then we had to get competitive. We did, but we couldn't get over the hump in the league. COVID came at a good time for us. If you've listened on my interviews and you're one of those listeners that's bored of hearing me tell the story, I apologize. But just made some bold decisions over COVID and changed this offensive scheme to try to become the fastest team in the world that snaps the football. We made some defensive changes, and we just kind of stopped caring what everybody thought. I think was the most important decision that we made. And we came out of this thing clean on the other side of COVID and won 9 games and haven't left the top 25 since. I honestly think we could have made this run in previous years since 21, but we couldn't get in the playoffs because you get a loss to Whitewater or a loss to La Crosse, one of these good teams. We couldn't get in, and we finally got in, and the rest is history, they say.
The rest is history. Palm up became your identity. Tell us what that means.
It's the physical symbol of being at all costs a selfless teammate, a selfless brother, we say, the relationship piece. And everyone has their quirky, corny little ways to do it, but the relationship piece and loving a teammate truly is kind of the foundational piece of our program. This was started in 2011. I think there's so much, again, some of my emotion after the game was this connection with these former teams that were winning 0-2 in one game, that we were still doing this palm up stuff. We still did love each other. This culture connection from the 11 guys to the current 25 guys, it's so true because these sayings and the things that we talked about, again, at the ground level of this culture has never changed. But yeah, the palm ups kind of caught fire. It's just our representation of that's the most important thing, to be a giver and a selfless person within the program.
Talk to me a little bit about just how your life has changed and what's all happened since, you guys then are becoming talked about on national media shows after winning the whole thing.
Yeah, I think the national media attention has kind of been not overwhelming, maybe the most surprising and I don't know if life-changing is the right word, but yeah, we've sure made some noise across the country. I think people appreciate a college football story that's not about NIL and transfer portal these days. It's just, it's just getting so tired and old. This is a cool story that wasn't about that. It's about hanging in there and being patient. And of course, everyone likes the underdog piece, but yeah, I'm sure you guys talk about it enough with yourselves, the portal. And, I've said it over and over, like the product on TV on Saturday at the highest level has never been better. It's the best football I've ever watched. I cannot wait for the game, coming up. But right underneath that layer, we can all agree we got a mess on our hands. And I've said it over and over, like I would never say above like our faith or our family or education, it's more important. But like college football is the best thing in the world, man. And we're going to lose our game if we're not careful, as we know it at the highest level. We got to fix it. And, you can't find a player or a coach or an administrator or an NCAA representative. Everyone knows we have this big issue and we're just not fixing it yet. And I understand there's legal issues and things going, but we got to fix our game at the highest level. Or we're going to screw it all up.
You want to talk about the Dodgers payroll real quick since no?
Yeah, I would like a little bit of that.
No kidding.
Yeah, they could sign me.
UW River Falls head football coach Matt Walker, the D3 national champs. What do you look for when you recruit a kid out of high school, specifically in Wisconsin? Because you focusing on our state really helped you get over the hump.
Yeah, I think, when I first got here, like I said, there was more, I've been honest about it. The rebuild became a restart. We just had bigger issues in every nook and cranny of the program than I thought we had. And one of the major, I guess, red flags I saw is we didn't have anybody from the backyard here. The great players from around the area weren't playing here. I think that's a major red flag for any program across the country. And so it's really where we started our recruiting efforts. And the way this college football recruiting works, the staff sort of, separates and has their own areas. And I personally, stuck my flag in this area around here, this Western Wisconsin and Eastern tip of the Twin City area. And I was like, we got to win here first. And so I kind of took it all upon myself. And I think we did that. Again, I think things helped. This new facility helped. And, again, we got competitive in the league. But again, like, I could give you the great lip service that everybody wants to hear in these coaching interviews. Like, we recruit men of high character and blah, blah, blah. And you do, but like, you really are after the best players that you can get your hands on that sort of fits your financial and academic, profile. So like, I don't lie about that. We're trying to get the best players. We've been blessed. These kids we've brought in, and it's been easy to have them fit our narrative. They've just been really awesome kids. I said it after the game. These kids motivate me to be a better person. Like I keep saying, I'm not trying to give a sermon here about what's going on in our country, but I wish the country could come sit in our locker room for 3 days and see how all these different kids from different backgrounds, and Packer fans and Viking fans and white kids and black kids and rich kids and poor kids can all like agree and get along and love each other and work towards a common goal. It's like, it's motivating stuff. Their generation's getting trashed for being terrible people. And I just don't see it with my slice of kids. They're awesome and I love them and they're motivated and they want to do the right things.
Can you tell for the listeners that are out there right now that are going, okay, I'm a little confused here. The D3 championship, if they just focus on that D1 level, I feel like Wisconsin Whitewater kind of put the D3 football on the map, right? They have 6 national championships, I believe. And I mean, they just went on a huge run. And then that's kind of how I learned, hey, this D3 football is actually worth watching. Can you explain kind of how the D3 world works in terms of college football and what makes it just as entertaining for people out there as D1 football?
Well, I think you start with this misconception of what a lot of people think Division III are. We're blessed in Wisconsin, the Midwest area in general. I say everybody knows the best player from their high school that was the town hero that played Division III football. And, they understand how good it is. We go recruit out in Arizona and Division III can like be this bad word. You have to educate them a little bit on what it is. And so I don't know why I enjoy the frustration of the fight of educating people about how great this level is. But for some reason I do. I'm so passionate about the level. But I think there's an education process first. Like there's no better way to put in, it's better than any words you can say just to watch that game on ESPN. Like you watch our game, that's high level stuff. And again, I know Joe Burrow went against different players, but when you see a split screen of our quarterback, Caleb Laha, breaking the Joe Burrow unbreakable record of total offense, when you learn our offense led all levels of college football in total offense, when our defense was one takeaway from leading the entire nation all levels in takeaway. You got to educate people on what this is all about. But again, it's easier here because again, we all just know the town hero that played Division III football. But it can be frustrating. There's lots of bashers and trashers out there, especially with the social media world that we live in, that can just say what they want. They just don't understand it.
So, Coach, I'm in a bit of a pickle. My brother was on the team that won the first national championship at UW Whitewater, 2007, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
My dad is a UW River Falls grad.
I like your dad.
Class of, I think he's listening right now. When we mentioned yesterday that we were going to have you on the show, my phone blew up from my father going, what time? And now, by the way, his other son has a national championship ring from UW Whitewater. What time River Falls going to be on that? I think he was in the class of 1977, 78, something like that. He skipped a grade, so that makes that difficult. I have a sophomore son that plays football at Fox Valley Lutheran High School.
Yeah.
And the programs at the high school levels across the state of Wisconsin are just completely different from when I was in high school. And a lot of these kids aren't playing 3 sports anymore. And my son is lifting weights after school every single day. It's just a different level of commitment than when I was in high school, when I got to play basketball and football and golf. And there wasn't this one sport thing because it's such a competitive landscape in terms of recruitment. So what's your message to kids like that are hoping to play at the next level, and yet it's a grind from 6th grade on?
It is. I think that you're right. Like, I played 3 sports in high school, and I couldn't imagine another different journey than that. I'm still a huge proponent and supporter of kids playing multiple sports, but I also understand wholeheartedly this more specialization. I really do. I think that my message to everybody is it's okay to have your own path. If you want to be specialized and do that, I think it's supported today more than ever. And I get that. If you want to play multiple sports, I sure hope and pray that at the high school level, playing multiple sports is supported. I hear the right things from a lot of people saying, oh, this is still the best thing, and you should play multiple sports. And it's all words because their actions don't support that at the high school level. And then you have this whole club and travel and youth sports disaster that we're all a part of as well. I rip the youth sports world that we live in more than anybody in here. I'm coaching every dang youth sports team on this side of the St. Croix Valley. So like, I understand the challenges today, but my message is whatever path you want. My daughter's still playing 3 sports. I had a daughter, she's playing soccer in Winona State right now. She played multiple sports, hockey. And it's like, I support every path because I don't blame the kids anymore for wanting to specialize. It is competitive. It is hard. And they're getting mixed messaging from all kinds of different people. So I don't judge anybody on their path anymore.
So now that you have the championship, has your any philosophy or just, I guess, opportunities for recruiting looking forward? Because, I would assume you're looking forward to next year. You got to keep it going. Has that changed at all now that you're the champion?
It's funny. I'm should be enjoying this more than any time in my life right now. And I'm so stressed out because we're so behind in recruiting because of this playoff run, for real. Like,
stop winning, coach.
Yeah.
I'm free. And we kept saying, well, winning the national championship would be the best recruiting we do. And I get that, but everybody else has had 3 winter visits on these Saturdays while we're making this playoff run. And we're having one finally Saturday. And I'm freaking out because we haven't been talking to these kids. And no, I think that we want to keep in perspective why we got here. We grinded in recruiting. I really believe it's the main reason that we're here. We worked our butts off. But I've just said, boy, what a great opening line to be able to say, hey, we're the reigning national champions. Welcome to our recruiting day. Seems like a pretty good thing.
Yep. That's
I think the transfer portal, again, I've already sort of alluded to, we got issues there. And again, you can give whatever sermon you want, but if you're not trying to work it a little bit, you're probably not truly trying to win. And again, that can be a controversial statement, but I think when used the right way, we're still using the portal. It's sure caught some attraction from transfers out there that want to go play for the national champs. So we don't lie that we don't use the portal, some. We do. We use the portal some.
Coach, before we let you go, tell us where we can get information about your camps coming up here this spring and summer.
Another thing I feel so behind on, like, I don't know if you asked that as a general thing or if you know about our mega camps to become the largest mega camp in this area and one of the largest in the country. Mm-hmm. And you speak about recruiting. It was to fix recruiting. Like, we have the smallest staff in the league. We have some budget restraints, and we felt behind in recruiting in general. Back a few years ago when we started this thing, we're like, people are sending these full-time guys out in the spring on the road. I didn't have the budget of the guys. We just felt like it was like, what are we going to do? And I said, well, every metropolitan area across the country, there seems to be this one mega camp where everybody sort of goes to, and there really wasn't the flag planted in the area where we were in Wisconsin, Minnesota. And I said, we could go try to do this and in one day try to catch up. And it's really where it all started. I couldn't have dreamed that we'd become, the largest mega camp, one of the top 5-10 in the country, but truly has happened. And I think it's another key. I think it's really helped us in recruiting for sure. But to answer your question, we're getting ready to shove it all out right now because I'm behind from winning the damn national championship, but it's coming out soon.
Whoops. Exactly. I mean, my bad. Just brought home a trophy.
Yeah,
no big deal.
That's on me.
Matt Walker, UW River Falls football head coach and D3 national champ. My dad texted me, class of 1975. And then my brother texted me right away and said, you've got some catching up to do. So what a jerk.
He's right.
What a jerk.
It's cool. Like, there's so much camaraderie within the league. It's a pretty cool thing. It's, we all beat each other's head in trying to win the thing, but I think there's a lot of respect and pride and across the league. We're all pulling for each other. And I truly mean that. I have a lot of respect for all this. It's the best league in the country. It's the best coaches in the country. It's the best players. There's nothing like it in America.
The WEAC, it's special. We're pulling for those teams across the state of Wisconsin. North Central, Mount Union, not so much. Not so much. But you guys, for sure. We appreciate you jumping on the show, man. Thanks a lot for coming on. We'll stay in touch for sure.
Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
Thanks,
Anytime.
Matt Walker, UW River Falls football head coach, D3 national champ, joining us on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. He got there in 2011, went 1-9.
Yeah.
2012, 2-8. 2013, 0-10. How do you feel about them sticking with that?
Right.
And now look at us complaining about coaches at the professional or higher college level going, come on, when UW River Falls said, we got you. Let's stick this out. Let's rebuild this program and see what we can do. And la-di-da, D3 national champs.
So you're saying the Packers should keep Matt LaFleur?
No, I think they should hire Matt Walker.
Oh, okay. It's a good
Palms
call.
up, baby. Where are you guys headed for spring break? That came up in conversation a couple times in my personal life, family, friends. People are starting to book their trips. Today's top 5 on a top 5 Friday. Where are you headed for spring break if you are? And can you sneak in a little sports? Like, if you're going to go there for spring break, how do you kind of disappear for a little bit and make sure that you don't miss out on sports?
What's your top 5 spots?
Making sure that when you go, there's TV. It's March Madness. Let's be real.
It's true.
Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Inside Wisconsin Sports, Trevor and Josh live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Are the Packers going to switch back to that power structure under Bob Harlan where the GM kind of has all the power? And will that help or hurt the Pack? Matt Schneidman of The Athletic and the Tundra Podcast joins 9 to noon with former Packers fullback John Kuhn this morning, 10 a.m. here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. We're actually going to talk about that very thing in our next segment. And at the top of the 8 o'clock hour, Andrew Brandt, football genius and former VP of the Green Bay Packers, will join us to talk about that and more. For now, it's a Top 5 Friday. And although the weather does not appear very spring-ish, spring break is just around the corner. And it got Josh and I thinking, where are you headed for spring break if you go someplace? Maybe you fly, maybe you drive, maybe you just chill at home. If you have plans for spring break, where are you headed? And we asked ourselves what the top 5 destinations would be for spring break.
Yeah, and for us, I think it's just it's a timely top 5 as it's snowing outside, the cold is back, and the Packers season is done. And that's a lot of times when people start looking at their calendars, looking at their PTO already, that nice, juicy, fat PTO number that they have because the year just started, and they go, you know what? I want to get away. I think I want to go away for a week. Where are you going to go? What are the top 5 places? We have ours.
All right, so what's your number 5, Josh?
Yeah, so my number 5 is Los Angeles. Let's go to L.A., try to get some money, because apparently the Dodgers are giving it to everybody.
I bet you can't squeeze that in every segment we have.
I bet I could.
Challenge accepted. I've never been to L.A. That's actually funny you bring that up, because the idea of going to a Packers away game is something that Amanda and I talk about often, and can we somehow try to hit one every year? So when the schedule came out with where they were going to be for their away games this coming season, the Rams was one of them. Rams or Chargers. L.A. was one of them.
Yeah, SoFi.
I want to go to Disneyland over there. Never been to Disneyland. I've been to Disney World. I know that you live there, but I've never been to L.A. in general. I'd like to see Hollywood. So, yeah, that's a good spot.
We did one trip as a family where a couple years ago where we went to L.A. We went to Disneyland, and then I saw an Angels game and a Dodgers game. Checked them both off the list.
That's sweet. Yep. That's how you do it. My number 5, I would love to go back to the Gulf Shores of Alabama. There's a place there called Florabama. It is a beach bar on steroids. Multiple levels, TVs all over the place, multiple stages with live music. We went there, I think, a couple of years ago now, had an absolute blast. And okay, this is funny. So it was spring break, Josh, on the beach in Alabama and Florida. So I'll give you one guess what type of crowd was around.
Yeah.
The college kids were out to play. We're at this thing called Florabama during the day. My family and I go there. We're on the beach. We happen to watch UW Green Bay women's basketball on TV at Florabama. They were in the NCAA tournament. And so we're watching this. Of course, there's somebody else from Wisconsin there because, of course, there is. And we're grabbing lunch kind of later in the afternoon after we chilled on the beach. They're playing bingo under this tent. There's a woman calling out, bingo numbers. It's like 4 o'clock-ish now, and she says, B4. And by the way, y'all, at about 4:30, all the families and good Christians are going to want to get out of here because this place gets pretty rowdy later on tonight.
Wow.
My wife and I looked at each other and we're like, we're coming back.
Yeah, we want to see that.
Dropped the boys off, and sure enough, we came back. And we did not blend in at all. I thought we were. No, we don't. We can't.
Yeah.
There was another couple in there, I think from Dallas. There was a dad that's got young kids just like we did.
You looked lost.
Oh, no. We tried to blend in. We put our hats backwards.
Yeah.
We're
well,
cool.
You don't blend in, period.
Ever?
Right.
Go and stand by the stage, kind of in the back, and these 2 college co-eds. Are these seats open, guys? They sure are. Our wives are there. I want to preface that.
Yep. Yeah. Okay.
And they hung out, and me and my new buddy are looking at each other like, we're totally blended in. 30 seconds later, these two college chicks turn around and look at us and go, "You guys in town for a conference or something?"
Yeah, and rightfully so. Hey, that's better than them saying, "Where are your daughters or sons?"
Yeah.
Which ones are yours?
That's true. You guys in town for a conference?
Okay.
Nope, just here for the live music. Thanks for asking.
Rough. My number 4 is the Dells. I felt I should have one on the list of it blows my mind that people don't appreciate the Wisconsin Dells enough. Go to a water park, go hang out, and it's it's an easy drive. You don't got to worry about getting on a flight. I understand you're staying in the cold, but you go inside. They've pretty much in the Dells built area you don't have to go outside. So Dells is my number 4.
My number 4 is just Florida in general. Anywhere in Florida.
Okay.
You choose. East Coast, West Coast, South, North, Jacksonville, Tampa, Destin. I know I have a lot of friends that go to Destin. Apparently it is phenomenal in that area during spring break. Florida in general.
Number 3 for me is Mexico. In a former life, I was doing radio, and there used to be a trip around this time where we would go to an all-inclusive in Mexico, Puerto Vallarta, some other place, take your pick. And boy, is it nice to be at an all-inclusive when the snow is coming down and it's negative whatever in Wisconsin. So that all-inclusive in Mexico, yeah, that was always fun.
Jason in Sheboygan on the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line, 414-677-1250, says he did a family trip in the summer where he hit all California baseball stadiums in a 9-day trip, Josh. That's called winning.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, California's big. It's a lot of traveling to get to all of them.
Number 3 for me, Washington, D.C.
Ooh,
it is
interesting.
Warmer. It is within driving distance. They have some awesome sports bars. I was there for a Packer game over the Christmas time last year. Not this past season, but the season before. Found a Packers bar, had an absolute blast. There's a lot of things to learn there, a lot of history. Don't tell me how broken it is. We all know. But they're the really cool spot. Washington, D.C., we took the boys. It was an absolute blast.
How far is it of a drive?
Not terrible. I think we choose, if we do a road trip, which we love to do, we'll make it halfway there and stop someplace.
Okay, I was going to say,
check out that scene.
You said it's drivable. It's 13 hours.
Oh, we did it on the way back, straight through. We're drivers, though. We're road trippers. That's what we love to do.
Would you ever road trip to my number 2, which is Arizona? Go to Arizona for spring training, right? That's the big one. If you've never been to spring training, I feel like every Brewers fan's got to make that trip once, at least once. I know a ton of people that have done it once and gone, oh, now I can't live without this. It's the perfect little pre-Brewers season. Plus, you're getting out of the cold. It's an outstanding time if you've never been in spring training.
Spring training is my number 1, so there I'll spill the beans on that. I would love to go to spring training. Absolutely love to go. I've never been. My family's never been. We talked about going. We actually have some friends that live down there now that said, come crash at our place, no big deal. We may very well take them up on that. I would love to go to spring training. My number 2, Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
Okay.
And that's where I think we're going to go again. So we've fallen in love with the Gatlinburg, Tennessee area, the Smoky Mountains, the touristy things to do there, the outdoors. I mean, you rent one of these VRBO cabins up on the hill, and you just have this most incredible view. And there are some insane sports bars there where you get to sit down and watch March Madness and absolutely give each other the business. We were there last year for spring break, and my son and I, like the rest of our family and friends, went and did one of those museum tours. Yeah. Me and Rhodey were like, nope, we'll be in the bar watching Wisconsin. And it was an absolute blast because there's TVs everywhere, right? I mean, it's no different than here, only here, pretty much you get the same fans. There's people on spring break. And so there are fans of all of the different teams from across the country, including other Big Ten teams, right?
Sure.
And then you kind of look at each other funny. And then you all right, well, I'm going to root against you. I'm going to watch your game pretty close. And then it doesn't go well. And you're like, oh, no, I'm going to stop talking.
Yeah, right. Now I'm going to slide over
really
here
good
a little
time.
bit.
Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
That's
What's your number 1, Josh? I'm sure nobody knows what your number 1 is.
Yeah, my number 1 is also where I think it was your number 3. It says in Florida. It's not just anywhere in Florida, though. You go to Disney World which is where we go, obviously, all the time. We talk about it. I literally had like a 20-minute conversation with Sparky yesterday. I don't know that a lot of people know this. Sparky's also huge into Disney, loves going to Disney World. And it's just, it's awesome for so many reasons. But as we had a blast doing it with Jordy when he was a kiddo. Now we have Jack. Jordy still has fun. It's an absolute great place to be. It's where we go all the time. It's where we're going to be for spring break. We love it.
You going to go there for spring break?
Yeah, we'll be there. Yep.
What week is your spring break, buddy?
I don't know. I'll check. There's specifically like everything in my life kind of comes together during his spring break in Orlando. So the Roosevelt's is the shirt brand I wear. I'm like a part of this cult with these crazy shirts. If you've never watched
You're
us,
not a part of the cult. You're the leader of the cult.
Well, you'd be surprised. But and I wear these shirts, and if you haven't seen them, you can watch us on WI Sports Radio on YouTube and Twitter, and you'll see me wearing them. And so there's like a big meetup of people in Orlando for a convention, like a Comic-Con that's happening in Orlando, and then you have Disney World and all these other. So all of this kind of comes together for a weekend, and so we're going to be there for that. We don't miss it.
What are the odds that our spring break falls on the same week? That would be a little nuts. Have fun with that morning show, whatever it is.
Yeah. Tommy Changa, here we go.
Kirsten in GB in the 920 says the area around the baseball stadium in DC is super fun. I concur. DC is really great. The 920, we did that twice, that being Gatlinburg for spring break in high school and college. Went camping in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. It is undefeated. We completely agree. Like we have, in a bad way, fallen in love with Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Probably where we're headed to this year. Spent a week in Gatlinburg in September. Absolutely loved it from the 262. The 612, it's highly likely if I went on spring break, it would be Florida, Texas, South Carolina, or Nashville. I'd find a job and move there. Bob in Minneapolis. Well, we don't blame you, Bob.
Yeah.
I'd move out of Minneapolis too.
Oh, here you go.
We would. 414, flying to Phoenix to pick up a car from family members for my son who turned 16 over spring break, driving it back home and hitting the crew in Kansas City. Fantastic. That's awesome.
Yeah, Greg in the Falls. Hell yeah.
Josh, did you ask Sparky about his Disney Christmas tree? Travis in Kenosha wants to know.
So yes, we've talked about it, and it's more important to just talk about how many Christmas trees Sparky has and puts up. He has like 20 Christmas trees in his house during Christmas.
That's crazy.
People need to study Sparky, like scientists need to study Sparky and the way his brain thinks.
414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line. One more here from Scotty Tiffany, who says Pigeon Forge, which is right next to Gatlinburg. It's like the Dells. It's very cool and also a little bit much. It's a little over. It's a little gaudy, if you will.
Have you been?
Yeah, she's not wrong.
Yeah.
It's the Dells on steroids, kind of spread out. We went to Pigeon Forge when we were there last year. It's cool. There's some things to see. And there's some areas that you can walk around, but we much prefer Gatlinburg. But yeah, Pigeon Forge it's like the Dells on we went to the Buffalo Wild Wings in Pigeon Forge to watch round 2 of the GB. Actually, was it round 1 last year, I believe, GB Women's? Again, we're in. You should have seen the look on their face. Hey, can we get the UW Green Bay women's basketball game on here, please?
The what?
Come again? Yeah, we watched it. It was fun. When we come back, we're prepping ourselves for our chat with Andrew Brandt at the top of the hour. Thanks for playing along with our little top 5 feature, which we're going to do on Fridays, by the way. No matter the sport, the season, the topic, there's a reason why we couldn't talk about supper clubs today, which is what we're going to talk about next week. We'll get to that towards the end of the show and let you know where we're headed with that. But first, the love triangle of Goody and LaFleur and Russ Ball all reporting to Ed Policy. And it sounds like, per Rob Domofsky, Ed Policy wants to shake that tree up and put it back to the way it used to be. But is that normal in the NFL? We'll talk about that next. Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Rob Demovsky reported earlier in the week that it looks like Ed Policy, the president and CEO of the Green Bay Packers, wants to go away from Russ Ball, Goody, and Matt LaFleur, and or whoever's the next head coach if they don't work it out. He wants to get away from all three of them being on the equal playing field and reporting up to him. He wants to go back to the way it was under the Bob Harlan days, which is when Brian Gutekunst says the GM would have the power, if you will. So we did some research to see if that's normal in today's NFL. Josh, out of the NFL's teams, how many do you think, just based on research, so don't quote me that this is 100% right, but how many do you think have the setup where the head coach reports to the GM?
I'm going to say half.
Not even close.
Oh.
2.
Oh.
Almost always in the NFL, the head coach, the general manager, and or the director of football operations are on the same level. And they report up to whoever the president/owner of the team is. The only time where the GM is the true hammer, from what I found, is John Schneider. He's the president of football operations and the GM, and the head coach reports up to him at the Seattle Seahawks. Other than that, I couldn't find any team that had the setup that Ed Policy reportedly wants to go back to here in Green Bay. And that surprised me. I mean, obviously the Dallas situation with Jerry Jones being the GM and the owner, could you say that that's the truth? Maybe so. The Cincinnati Bengals, Mike Brown is listed as owner and president and widely tracked as the club's top professional football decision maker, or effectively the GM. But after that, I mean, the rest, literally the rest, from what I found, Philly has a bit of an exception. It has a pretty powerful GM seat, but typically it's still a peer model with the head coach. That surprised me, which makes me go, now why do we want to go back to the old way? Is that because Ed Policy doesn't want anything to do with the football operations side of the Packers business? Maybe so.
Well, also, though, I mean, how do you feel about it? I feel like you, more than most, want to change in how the current structure is in Green Bay. My thing, and before I let you answer, is I think the Packers are in a unique situation. So having it set up the way that all the other teams would that have an owner, one guy that's the owner, doesn't apply here. So you kind of need a different structure here than you would elsewhere. And so I'm not surprised by the idea that Policy has.
Yeah, I just don't think that Ed Policy has much, for lack of better terms, football experience. Obviously, his dad was pretty influential in football with the 49ers back in the day, Carmen Policy. But at the same token, Ed didn't play in the NFL. And so he, unlike Mark Murphy, does not quite most likely have the experience that Mark was able to bring to the football conversations. The Packers also have a lot of stuff going on off the field. And to your point, Josh, if there's no owner, even though he's the pseudo owner, it would make more sense for then the football department to have a reporting structure that reports up through the football department.
Right.
So I think there's plausible cause for a change. Now, where it lands and who reports to who, I don't know that structure. I don't know if Russ Ball is the guy then that they report up to, or if it's Goody, or if Goody and Russ are on the same page and the head coach reports up to the GM. I don't know the way it was during the Bob Harlan era. I just know that the GM had more football power in Green Bay over the team other than just being on the level playing field. It's going to be a good question for Andrew Brandt. He has some experience, not only across the league in terms of what he knows, but literally here in Green Bay during the era when Favre's tenure ended and Aaron Rodgers arrived on the scene. I wonder what he's going to say in regards to the way it should be. Is it going to be the way that the rest of the NFL seems to be? I was surprised by that. I, too, thought it was going to be at least half, Josh. So when it was like, literally nobody other than the Seattle Seahawks, and one could argue Philly, but maybe Dallas, but that's it. That's literally it.
Yeah.
That was very surprising. So let's talk to him about it. Andrew Brandt joining us next here on Inside Wisconsin Sports. If you don't know who Andrew Brandt is, you need to. He was a player agent. He's a front office executive here with Green Bay from 1999 to 2008. And he is very much a media and content entrepreneur. Plus, he teaches sports law at Villanova and also does some work with Sports Illustrated. The guy has been around the block in the most incredible way, and we are grateful that he will join us next here on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. What questions do you have for Andrew Brandt? Send us a text on the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and text line 414-677-1250. We're Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. I am an eternal optimist. So please, God, don't tell me that you're an eternal pessimist.
I like to say I'm a realist.
Oh, it's great. We're going to get along great. This is going to be great.
This is Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
Crowd is here, about to blow, waiting for me to start the show. Out the curtain, lights go up from home. Whoa!
With Harbaugh's deal getting done and it being what it is, how does that affect the Green Bay situation, if at all?
No bearing at all. The Packers and Matt LaFleur have been working on an extension. They've been talking. I think it's gone a couple of different ways here. I think right now, the way it was described to me earlier today, I think the expectation and belief is that he's expected back in Green Bay and excited about that opportunity. That's the belief on both sides. So until we hear different, I think we operate under the assumption that he's going to be back and they're going to figure it out. Okay? They're working on trying to get it done. That's what I would expect to happen right now, but they're not done. So until they're done, we'll see. But I believe they're going to work it out.
That from the Pat McAfee show and Adam Schefter on whether or not John Harbaugh's deal affects what's going on here in Green Bay. I think it might affect it more than we think it does. What's up, Wisconsin? Welcome in Inside Wisconsin Sports. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht.
Hi.
Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Josh, here we go, live radio, buddy. I'm texting you a number right now to call Andrew Brandt. He's joining us in just a few moments to let us know what we should really feel about what's going on with all of this stuff with Matt LaFleur and his contract and how the Packers are viewing this and thinking about this and what do we do and what don't we do? And do we sign him long term? Do we offer him a 1 or 2 year deal? Do we give him the money he's looking for, but just on a shorter? It's kind of confusing. And so we reached out to Andrew Brandt because we know not only does he have the experience in the National Football League, not only does he teach sports law, not only does he write for Sports Illustrated, and not only does he have his own podcast called The Business of Sports with Andrew Brandt, but he was here in Green Bay from 1999 to 2008 as the vice president of player finance and general counsel for the Green Bay Packers. He negotiated player contracts. He managed salary cap strategy. He was running the football business operations here for the Green Bay Packers behind the scenes, 1999 to 2008. He will have a ton to share with us as we work on getting him on the phone as we speak. Andrew Brandt's going to join us on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. What questions do you guys have for Andrew Brandt across the state of Wisconsin here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network? Shoot us a text. The Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text Line 414-677-1250. Josh, thumbs up. Awesome.
We got him.
Joining us now on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Our guy, Andrew Brandt. Andrew, good to chat with you again, and thanks for jumping on Inside Wisconsin Sports. How we doing?
We're doing well. You know, it's even many years removed from there. I'm obviously a big fan. My kids are big fans from growing up there. So we felt the gut punch Saturday night, as everybody there did. And I certainly understand all the feelings out there that I've been hearing from fans on social media and my Twitter and everything else. But, you know, this is what happens for all teams except one. It's an unfortunate, disappointing result in the NFL. Winning is so hard. And the sustained success while I was there is something I'm so proud of, even though we never made a Super Bowl. And it's tough because people want the ultimate prize. But the way we've lost playoff games, even before Matt LaFleur, has been frustrating. It feels like we're snake bitten on these things.
So, Andrew, obviously, as you just mentioned, no one really likes when the season has to come to an end, especially not in the fashion that this Packers season did. However, this year, it seemed like we didn't even have a whole lot of time to sulk because the conversation immediately moved to what do the Packers do with Matt LaFleur, and do they make any changes kind of the identity, especially with coaching with this team? Do you think that moving on from Matt LaFleur is a good decision, bad decision, and will it happen?
Well, we've seen moves with special teams, and my strong feeling is A, it's not a good idea to move on from LaFleur, and B, I don't think it will happen. But I understand what's going on because I've been involved in a lot of player negotiations and obviously a couple coaching negotiations up there. It's not as simple as here's a number, let's go. I would think, based on everything we're talking about, there's a lot of discussion of financial and non-financial. Firstly, non-financial, how do we improve? How do we get to a point in the postseason where we're not facing this all the time? There are no easy answers. It's not one thing or not. The easy answer is, Micah Parsons and Tucker Kraft are healthy.
True.
I don't think we're talking like this at all, if they are. And then there's financial. And, he's coming to a lame duck year. This is what we did with players. We never let them get to free agency. We make sure that's not an issue where next year he becomes a free agent. So Matt's got some leverage there. And the idea that you would move on from Matt LaFleur, I guess the obvious question is, to who? Like, what are you doing to replace a guy that's a top whatever NFL coach with another coach? The top whatever NFL coaches are not getting fired, no matter their season. We've seen losing seasons recent years from, pick a name, Kyle Shanahan, others that, is it their fault? Should they be fired? No, I just don't see it. I don't see, any of the wolves that are out there. What's their alternative?
Andrew Brandt joining us here on Inside Wisconsin Sports. Andrew, there's a report that if Matt LaFleur does stay, or maybe even if he doesn't, there's going to be a change to the reporting structure, the way it's set up here in Green Bay, where Russ Ball, which is who I believe you were prior to Russ Ball, head coach Matt LaFleur, and GM Brian Gutekunst, all three of them are on a level playing field and all report up to the president and the CEO of the Green Bay Packers, that now being Ed Policy. Sounds like Ed wants to potentially go back to the way it was, where the GM is the person that the head coach reports to, and that's kind of where all the football operations run through. What was it like when you were here? And in today's NFL, what's the best way to?
Well, I was certainly part of a GM-focused hierarchy where Ron Wolf and Ted Thompson in my time were the heads of the organization, and the president, Bob Harlan, was leading up the administrative side of the organization with very little interference with football. It was the way Ron Wolf was brought here before I got there, and it was the way that continued. And I'm not even privy to what's gone on in recent years, but completely football oriented, where someone like Ron Wolf or Ted Thompson would run the coach, would run the personnel, would have complete control of football operations, and little interference from the administrative side. And that includes the president, that includes the board of directors, that includes the executive committee. Again, I'm not sure what's gone on in the past, but to me, that's the Packers. What separates the Packers from all the other NFL teams is it's football first. There's no money being diverted to an owner's yacht. There's no money being diverted to an owner's third home in California or in Florida or in the Caribbean. This is all football. So to me, it makes sense. Now, I understand you want some oversight, but if you have the right people, and I think Brian's the right person, and I think Matt's the right person, you're not going to abuse that power, right? Like Ted Thompson, Ron Wolf trusted me to handle the financial side of the organization, as they trust Russ Ball now. That worked well. It seems to be working well. So I don't know if I would change that.
So, Andrew, then if Matt LaFleur is the right guy, Goody's the right guy, then what is the change that needs to happen? Because the Packers since 2021 have consistently been mediocre, and they get to the playoffs, and then they're losing that first round or not making it. And for Titletown, and as we had Brian Gutekunst on the show earlier in the season, said Green Bay is the focus is winning championships, not making money. What is that change that gets them back to that philosophy?
Yeah, if I knew that, I'd be flown up there to wave a magic wand. I think these meetings are, everyone's wondering why they're taking so long, because they're intensive. Like, what has happened at the highest leverage moments? This team in the first month was, I talked about it on shows up there. Like, that's the team. That's the team to win it all. Like, I was there a couple times in my 10 years where I felt like, gosh, we got it. We got the team. Some years, you don't have the team. But, the 4th and 26 against the Eagles year, that was so frustrating for us because we had the team. We lost to the Giants in the NFC Championship in overtime. We had the team. But they had the team. Now, the Parsons injury, maybe you look at it and say, well, they didn't have the team anymore because of that monster pass rush that's always going to affect any offense. And maybe, he gets to Caleb Williams before that 4th down throw. Sure, you could always say that. But I'm just sort of sitting and thinking with LaFleur, we're going to do a contract and we'll get the agent and we'll figure out the number. But what do we do in the highest leverage moments? Well, how does that happen? How did it happen 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 1 year ago? What is happening? Is there a way we can change the focus of this team to really peaking in games like that? And I know every game counts, but there's got to be a way. And this is what you sit down and go through. And is a reporting system mean a difference in the playoffs? Well, that's hard to believe, but something's got to change for these high leverage moments.
Andrew Brandt joining us on Inside Wisconsin Sports. Andrew, one more. We know we got to let you go. It's been going on 20 years, man, since you were here in Green Bay. I don't mean to age all of us, but it's been a minute.
Yeah.
What do you miss the most?
People ask me if I miss working for a team or being with the Packers, because I got a much different life that I've done a lot of different things. There's 4 or 5 nights a year, you miss it, but you really don't miss it much after that, where the big wins and the celebrations and all those. But obviously that comes along with a lot of disappointment like the other day. I guess I kind of miss this upcoming time of year, which is obviously it's cold up there. There's no one around with the team. It's bleak, but that was my time where February, March, April, you architect the team. You massage the roster. You create cap room. You spend cap room. You massage cap room. You create the product that people are going to see in the fall of 2026, in the winter, early spring of 2026. And, I was an agent before the Packers. And when I was an agent, you're like a fantasy football owner. You like this guy on that team, this guy on that team. But when you had the job I had and Russ Ball has, that's exciting to me from an intellectual point of view and from a team building point of view. You create. And you don't care about anything on any other team or any other roster, any other thing. You just want your team. So, and again, I wasn't involved in draft prep or anything like that, but then you bring on those players. And my question in the draft room was for any 1st, 2nd, 3rd, even 4th round pick, like, okay, guys, okay, Ron, okay, Ted, who's this push off? Who is this? This player's going to make the team. Top 4 draft pick is going to make the team. So who are we pushing off the roster? Then you're recreating. Then you're resetting. And you're working on different scenarios. So on a general sense, That's what I missed. And you know what, guys? I kind of liked it. The building is empty. And that day, what was it, Monday this week? That's the hardest day of the year, because then it's like a director of a summer camp at the end of the summer. Like everyone walks out the door. And I remember guys like, Al Harris or Charles Woodson, like, hey, Andrew, you got to stay here. And I'm like, yeah, this is my job. I don't leave like you guys. I don't leave and come back in May. Like, this is my job. But I liked that. I liked using the weight room and the sauna and the steam. And it was like you're in a building that is much different for those months. So that's a long-winded, weird answer, but I kind of like this time of year where we're creating.
And you're creating and crafting sometimes in that job, Andrew, even from the beach of Whitefish Dunes State Park in Door County. I'll share that story on your behalf, knowing that you got to take off. But what a great story that was.
Thanks so much. That's a good one. And people want to follow my stuff. I'm Instagram, Andrew Brandt 2, and Twitter. Of course, people know Andrew Brandt, but I do a newsletter every week. You just go to Sunday 7, go to mysunday7.com, and you can sign up there, hear all these great stories and insights. I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, thanks for jumping on. Andrew Brandt on Twitter. We are following along for sure, and we'll stay in touch. Thanks again. The Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Andrew Brandt. He told us a story on the podcast, on the Inside Wisconsin podcast, that he was in a time of the year where all of the things that he was in charge of were settled down. And he was up in Door County, Whitefish Dune State Park. It's on the Lake Michigan side, and there is literally no cell phone service whatsoever. And somehow he got a message that he needed to put together a contract or okay a contract or something about a contract. And he had to walk up to the ranger station at Whitefish Dune State Park in Door County and go, hey, I need to use your phone. And they said, sir, we don't allow. He's like, no, you're going to want to, I need to do some work.
Yeah, this is an emergency.
Sir, I appreciate that, but we can't, this isn't how, okay. I'm Andrew Brandt from the Green Bay Packers, and if I don't use your phone, we will not sign this guy, and he will not be able to help win a Super Bowl for the Green Bay Packers. Can I use your phone? Sure. Yep, sure can. Absolutely.
Yep. Exception made.
Go ahead and read the paper tomorrow to make sure you know I'm not lying to you, because that's exactly what's about to happen. That's the part of this that people don't understand here in Green Bay, is that this is small town USA up here, man. And when those people that sit in those chairs are here, to Charles Woodson's point, year round, doing their job, sometimes they're literally within the community going, I got to take this call. I got to step out of church. I need to figure out what I'm going to do when I have no cell phone signal. And if I don't get on a phone and have this conversation, we're in trouble. We're really grateful that he joined us. Andrew Brandt. Follow him on all the socials at Andrew Brandt on Twitter, at Andrew Brandt 2 on Instagram. He's got the podcast, The Business of Sports with Andrew Brandt. He writes columns for Sports Illustrated. And if you want to go to Villanova and learn more about sports law, he'll be your professor.
There you go.
Up next, the professor of Packers football, Andy Herman of the Pack-A-Day podcast, will help summarize the season, what's next for the Pack, and what is going on with all of this Coach LaFleur contract stuff. He's next. We are Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. A reminder, if you missed any portion of today's show, could have been our chat with Matt Walker, the head coach of UW River Falls and the D3 national champions. That was at 7. You can jump to that segment if you want, if you search for Inside Wisconsin Sports, wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. We just got done chatting with Andrew Brandt here on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We learned a thing or two, just like we do every single time this guy joins us. Joining us now on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Our guy, Andy Herman from the Pack-A-Day podcast. For not the last time. I mean, like, you're going to be on the show more. And this routine of every Monday and Friday during the Packers season comes to an end today. Good to see you, Andy. Thanks again for everything you did for us this Packers season, man.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. I do have a bone to pick. I do have in my contract, I'm not allowed to be the second smartest Andrew in the same hour of a show. So
you're not. You're Andy.
Yeah, fair enough. No, that was great with Andrew Brandt, though. That was great with Andrew Brandt.
Well, then let's hear your smarts in regards to all of this stuff with Matt LaFleur. And maybe the most annoying part about this, Andy, is that we don't know. Like, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know if they've come to an agreement and just haven't told us. We don't know if they're pissed at each other and he's going to end up walking away. What do you know?
Yeah, I spent the entire podcast today basically going over this, what we know, what we don't know, and kind of breaking it down little by little. I think the first thing that we know, I can tell you this for certainty. Are you guys ready for some certainty?
Yes,
Matt
please.
LaFleur will not be fired. He will not be fired. All right. Here's what I can tell you, why I can tell you that. This is a pretty simple binary process right now. So they're negotiating. We know that Matt LaFleur said he still wants to stay with the Packers. We know that the Packers are working with Matt LaFleur and there's contract talks going on. We know that from Rob Demovsky. We know that from Adam Schefter. We know that from Ian Rappaport. We know that from Tom Silverstein, etc., that these two sides are working together on a contract. So this is how this goes from here on out. We also know, I should note, that he is going to be one of the more sought after coaches. That's not breaking news. That has been reported by numerous people as well, including Adam Schefter. And it's mostly just common sense based on where the coaching market is at and the fact that you have 8 open coaching jobs out there right now. So you start with a negotiation. These two sides are working together and they will either come to a deal or they will not. And if they do not come to a deal, the Packers will say, you're open to going out and finding another head coaching job. You go and find that head coaching job, and then we will work with that team on compensation. And they are not going to turn away potential compensation to fire Matt LaFleur. So I can tell you wholeheartedly that I know, unless this all of a sudden gets to 4 weeks from now and every other head coaching job has been filled, and there's the only thing left to do is that it's either you give him the money he wants or you fire him at that point because there's no other place for him to go. He will not be fired. This will either be a contract situation where they get settled, or he will be another head coach elsewhere and they'll get compensation for him in return. So I think that's the first thing. I think it's also worth noting of how we got here, because it's interesting. If this is a situation where it's not ed policy, I don't know that we get to this situation in the first place. We don't know much about ed policy. There was one sort of closed doors meeting with a handful of media members, handful of beat guys that got to talk to him, ask some questions and things like that. We didn't get a ton of interesting stuff out of that, except for 2 things. The one big thing that was a takeaway from that is that they were not going to extend Brian Gutekunst and Matt LaFleur during the season. They were going to wait until this offseason. And 2 is that they don't want lame duck coaches. And I'm assuming they don't want lame duck GMs either. They don't want guys going into the final year of their contract. So that really set up this sort of, I don't want to say powder keg of a situation, but this sort of situation that we're in right now where you don't want him to be on a 1-year deal remaining, but now you have to either give him an extension or basically say goodbye. And that's the situation that you're in right now. I think if this isn't ed policy taking over for Mark Murphy, or if it's just Mark Murphy, I think they probably get this extension done sooner. And in hindsight, you can probably argue that, listen, if this was probably about the worst case scenario season Green Bay was going to have with this team, was a 9-8, 0-5 end of the season, losing but in embarrassing fashion to the Chicago Bears in the first round. If you're not going to fire him or move on from him after that, there probably wasn't many scenarios in which you were going to move on anyway. So getting this contract done sooner probably would have behooved everyone in this situation. But I can understand wholeheartedly why Ed Policy in the first year at the job, his first time behind the desk, says, I want to see what this looks like. I want to work with Matt one-on-one for a year. I want to work with Goody one-on-one for a year. I want to see if there's fences that are set up between sides, if there's siloed off, if there's issues, if there's drama, whatever it might be, so I can make an educated decision on if this is the right move for the organization or not. And so that's, I think, how we get to this spot where you're now in this sort of, now or never situation. And the other thing I'll add on top of this too is urgency is of the utmost importance for both of these sides at the moment. There's not a lot of time here. If you're Green Bay, there is one coach already off the market in John Harbaugh. I have no idea if Green Bay would have been interested in John Harbaugh or not, but he was probably one of the headlining coaches of this coaching class, and he is now off the market. And every day that goes by, you could have another coach or two coaches or three coaches that are off the market that give you less opportunity to hire them or interview them. And the same thing for Matt on the flip side, every day that goes on is one less coaching job that's open for him to potentially interview for and get out there for as well. And it's not just the head coaching position either. In the meantime, while this is all going on with Matt, everything else in the organization is basically on pause. I see people, well, why is Rich Bisaccia still here? Why is Luke Buck still here? And it's like, well, they're not going to be able to do much until they figure out who the head coach is so that head coach can make those decisions. And in the meantime, you might have Jeff Hafley leave for a head coaching job. DeMarcus Covington might get a defensive coordinator job somewhere. When Hafley leaves, he might want to take somebody like Derek Ansley with him. You could have coaches start being poached from your own roster that you need to start replacing, and you can't get to those conversations until you filled your head coaching spot or finalized the deal with Matt. And in the meantime, like John Harbaugh is going to hire somebody as a defensive coordinator probably pretty soon. If you need a new defensive coordinator this year, now that person's off the market too. So urgency is of the utmost importance for both of these sides to get this done, get this figured out. And so both can go in their separate direction. And the same for Matt, where he's going to want, if he does get a job somewhere else, he's going to want to be able to have coaches that are out there so he can fill his staff and that the entire coaching staff is not picked over elsewhere as well. So it's important that they figure this out sooner rather than later for both sides.
Catch all that?
Yeah, got it. Andy, on Monday, I had said that I figured this was going to be just in classic Friday news dump fashion. We will find out around like 3:30 today. That was my guess. But it also took me until Friday to truly look at the $1 million man. Hey, everyone's got a price. Hypothetical situation. I ended up putting it on my Twitter in a Twitter poll about just with the fact that we are kind of on the fence as a fan base on Matt LaFleur to begin with. And we just gave up 2 first-round picks to bring in Micah Parsons. Is it crazy in two ways, as a fan and from the organization, to maybe just put this whole thing of just bringing him back no matter what, to see what the Packers might be able to get for him in picks?
Yeah, so this is a really interesting conversation. I'm glad you brought this up, and this is one of the another cruxes of the conversation I had today on the pod is, all right, so I think the first thing I want people to know is like Goody and Ed Policy and the powers that be are not sitting in their office thinking like, all right, well, Atlanta needs a coach. Maybe we could get Bijan Robinson, or Dolphins need a coach. Maybe we could get a first and a third round pick from them. They're not thinking of like what we can get. The first decision is, do you want Matt or not? And if the decision is yes, then you do everything in your power to bring Matt back. If there is a sort of trade in this scenario, again, how this is going to work is you're not going to shop him to other teams. He is going to go out and find a job. And then once it's similar to when Aaron was sort of like with the Packers, but he could go and find another team. He found the Jets, and then the Packers and the Jets worked out compensation afterwards.
Why would we let Matt do that? Why wouldn't we use him as trade leverage?
I mean, usually there could theoretically, I guess, be a situation where teams come calling and say, we want Matt as our head coach. But usually there has to be a process too, where the team interviews Matt and wants to eventually hire Matt. There's usually going to be a process to that. So, maybe if there's multiple bidders, maybe if, he's getting multiple jobs, you can have sort of a bidding war between Atlanta and Miami or something like that. But usually Matt's going to agree to a job, and then there's going to be a compensation discussed afterwards, similar to what you did with Aaron Rodgers as well. So I think that is a sort of a key aspect to this. But the other thing that's worth noting here is contracts for coaches are fully guaranteed. Okay. We just saw John Harbaugh get a 5-year, $100 million contract. Let's say Matt is saying, hey, I want 5 years, $80 million. That's my number that I'm at. Okay. Let's say Jeff Hafley is as a new head coach or somebody similar to Jeff Hafley, Clint Kubiak, enter newish head coach that you want here, is about $8 million per year. And that's a 5-year, $40 million deal. Now, that money doesn't matter to us. There's no salary cap for coaches. We don't get anything out of that. But as a Packers organization, if all of a sudden you start looking and saying, hey, we can get another coach for $40 million guaranteed less. And when Matt leaves, we're going to get some sort of compensation. Maybe it's a first, maybe it's a second, maybe it's a first, but you have to give up a fourth. I don't know what that exact comp looks like, but you get some sort of very valuable pick. It potentially could enter in the ether to say, hey, yeah, we like Matt. We really want him back. But if the drop dead number is 5 years, 80 million, and we can get somebody for 5 years, 40 million, and we can get a valuable draft pick in return. All right. Does that enter into the calculus of saying, yeah, okay, I love Matt, but Jeff Hafley for $40 million less, and I get a valuable draft pick in return, and maybe I can go out and get a Mike McDaniel or a Kevin Stefanski or a very talented offensive coordinator to replace Matt. Maybe as an organization, I like that idea more. I don't think that's what they're thinking in this situation. I think they're legitimately working in good faith to bring back Matt, but that has to be part of the at least calculus at some point in time, depending on what that number is.
Why do people keep saying that we don't have an owner, therefore we have all the money in the world? That's not how any franchise thinks, let alone the Green Bay Packers, who are a nonprofit, community-based.
Yep.
And usually pretty stingy with decisions that they make.
Yeah. So, but I keep hearing that, Andy, of like, oh, we have all the money that we can have access to that we want. We have a checkbook. I mean, Pat McAfee says it every day. Why are we using that as a piece that we can do whatever we want?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously, from a Green Bay standpoint, they want to stay in a position financially where there's never an issue that they can't compete. There's a competitive disadvantage from being a Green Bay or anything like that. But I think they have the money that they need to at any time to make these moves. They are in a good spot where when you sign Jordan Love to a contract, you can give him a massive signing bonus right away, which is money out of pocket right away. You pay that up front so that you can split that salary cap hit between 5 years, usually is what it is. Some teams can't do that. So Green Bay's in a good spot financially to be able to make those decisions. But yes, it is also a team that doesn't just want to spend freely or recklessly and does want to, be able to stay financially solid and just in a good spot financially. The other thing I'll add is Justice Mosqueda has done a great job this whole week and even prior to that of really, defining some of the issues that Green Bay has had, sort of being cheap on the assistant coaching market and not going out and getting some of the more experienced and best guys. Darren Rizzi's a huge version of this when Matt first came to town. And yeah, you could make the argument, hey, if you're saving $40 million on Matt as head coach and giving that to Jeff Hafley or Clint Kubiak, maybe you do have some more money for assistant coaches that can sort of round out the staff a little bit better in that situation too. So there's a billion different layers to this, and it's all unique. It's all interesting. And like I said, urgency is going to be key for both to get this done as soon as possible.
All right, Matt, we usually like to end our time with you with a score prediction. Obviously there's no score to predict for the Packers. So give me a Matt LaFleur news breaks prediction. When do we finally put this to bed and learn the fate of Matt LaFleur's relationship with the Packers?
I thought for sure, since I did a whole episode on Matt LaFleur this morning, that by 8 a.m. this morning, we would get news and the entire episode would be counterfeit and completely irrelevant by the time it was posted. So I do think we hear something today, I think is the most likely. I think every day this goes on, it gets a little bit more like, okay, guys, you got to get this done. I think today is still a very reasonable time to do that. I can't imagine that they want to go into Monday with this thing still hanging in the balance, unless that they are like 99.9% done and it's just dotting I's and crossing T's and it's just a few minor things that they're working through. But again, your defensive coordinator decisions, your special teams coach decisions, all of those things are put on pause until you get this figured out too. And that stuff matters as well. So I do think that they have to get this done soon. And I'll say today, if not today, I'll say, either sometime this weekend or Monday, but it can't go on much longer.
Is losing John Eric Sullivan a big deal?
Yeah, these are always tough ones. I'm assuming yes, but I always joke like I have all 22 of the players on the field. I don't have all 22 of the executives in the suites. I don't get to see their TPS reports, right? So maybe John Eric Sullivan was the one that recommended some of Green Bay's worst draft picks of all time or worst free. Maybe he was the guy that wanted Nate Hobbs or re-sign Keyshawn Nixon to the deal. I have no idea, right? Or maybe he was the one who wanted found Jordan Love and said you should take Jordan Love. It's just really difficult to know where he was, but I know he was extremely well thought of within the organization, that Goody thought the world of him, that he obviously has been in this, ether of getting a GM/president job for some time. And I'm assuming when you lose somebody like that, it's going to hurt the organization. And thankfully they have a really good, scouting staff and front office to be able to replace that. But yeah, it's tough to tell always from the outside.
Andy, you're the best, man. We're so grateful that you joined us this season. We won't be strangers if you allow us to tap on your window every now and again to have you come in, especially when this news breaks or whatever happens.
That's when we'll have you back on first.
I would just say plan on joining us. Yeah, 15 minutes. Talk to you then.
Talk to you on Monday, bud.
Andy Herman at Andy Herman NFL on Twitter. Follow the Pack a Day podcast. I'm telling you, Andy, and I'm not blowing smoke here, I've got buddies that don't know the relationship between us and the show and you coming on the radio and you being on the radio and so on. You are the go-to Packers source every single day for absolutely everybody in the Green Bay Packer fan base. So thanks for what you do, brother.
Thanks a ton. I really appreciate that, guys. Have a great rest of your week.
Thanks, Andy.
Andy Herman joining us on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline. Powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Up next, what's up, Wisconsin? And I cannot believe it's been a year.
Yeah.
We will talk about that next. Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
Trevor and Josh want to know.
What's up?
What's up, Wisconsin?
What's up?
What's your plan for the day?
What's up?
What are you doing tonight?
What's up?
Let us know what's up on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line. What's up, Wisconsin? Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Josh, somebody wants to know, it's Friday, crappy outside.
True.
Trying to figure out what I could have for lunch that might warm the soul.
Oh, I think I could tell you. You do what I'm going to do. Go to Natty Oaks, get a big old bowl of chili. Wait, literally, you guys don't understand, especially like by Wednesday, I'm like already thinking about it. And I'm like, I could go today. No, got to wait, got to hold off, get that big old bowl on Friday. Shout out to everybody that stopped by Natty Oaks for our remote, hung out with me, got that big old bowl of chili on Friday at Natty Oaks last week with the Mason Crosby show and Sparky show and Tommy all there. That was a great time. Hopefully more people come back and enjoy that and the other food they have because they got a lot of good stuff.
1 year ago today at 9:46 a.m., the Milwaukee Brewers announced that we all were heartbroken that icon and baseball Hall of Famer Bob Uecker passed away at the age of 90. I cannot believe it's been a year since that happened.
I know. And it definitely snuck up. And I was at a different point in my life as well. So when I saw that it was going to be a year, I was like, it just felt not only way too fast, but I was like, this isn't right. I wouldn't have been in this place. Where was I, having to just go through all of it again? And I mean, it obviously made the last year's season for the Brewers special, but I think it's really important that we continue bringing him up. I don't want Uke to be someone that we're just remembering once in a while.
Good news. That's impossible.
His impact was just, well, but you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how quickly, you can ask a lot of kids about Michael Jordan, and besides like Space Jam, they're like, what?
I think Bob Uecker's different,
well,
especially here in Wisconsin.
Well, I'm just saying, though, I think it's important that we continue to, because he really transcended sports, and it was about community across the whole state and just who Uke was.
And he's diehard Wisconsin. I mean, Bob Uecker was everything we love about the state of Wisconsin. Brewers baseball and so much more, right up there with Wisconsin supper clubs.
Okay.
So we're going to end today's show with this. We wanted to do a top 5 list of the top 5 things you look forward to at a Wisconsin supper club, or the top 5 items on a Wisconsin supper club salad bar. We're in our show prep meeting yesterday. The top 5s of the keys to the game and the Packers, that's all done. And Josh says,
yeah, I couldn't tell you the last time I was at a supper club that had a super salad bar. It's been at least a decade, if not more. And if I was at one, it was like in Rhinelander. I think it was called Wolf's. I promise you it doesn't exist anymore. Like, I've gone to what I would consider a supper club, tiny, that kind of about having it be about the atmosphere, get a fish fry, something of the sort. But when you said, I want to do top 5 things you'd put on your salad at a super salad bar at a supper club, I went, I don't know that I can participate here.
And that's when the fight started. So between now and next Friday, Josh has one job and one job only. It's to get to a supper club that has a soup and salad bar, which, by the way, I pause and say it's not a supper club if it doesn't have a soup and salad bar.
Which I need the rest of you, if you disagree with him, on the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line, to join in and let him know, because I can't argue a counterpoint there, because I really don't know. Like, I'm just so unaware. And also let me know where I should be going. If there's a supper club specifically in the Milwaukee area that you're like, oh, you got to go here, let me know. Let me know where I should be going to complete this task before next Friday.
Supper clubs and tiny taps. That's Wisconsin right there. Stay tuned. We've got some ideas for the off season in regards to what that might look like for us to be out and about at some of the hole in the wall tiny tap bars across the state of Wisconsin, and or maybe a little supper club tour. Josh and I want to get out into Wisconsin communities, and what makes it more important than to open up a bar at 6 a.m. and go, hey, come on, join us.
Yeah.
Basement bar,
Dive bars for sure. The hole in the walls, those I'm very familiar with. Love that. But for now, task for next week's Top 5 Friday, I got to get to a supper club. So let me know where I should be going.
414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law fan talk and text line. You are going to want to pay attention to this segment starting on Monday. The What's Up Wisconsin portion of the show is going bye-bye. And we're not telling you what's happening in this segment until Monday at about 8:45 in the morning. But we're jacked for it. That announcement will come, and you will want to tune in on Monday at 8:45 to see what this particular segment of the show turns into. Josh, go to Schwarz's in New Holstein, the best. Wolf's Log Cabin. Unfortunately, not there anymore, but that was the place.
That was it. That was the one. There you go.
Out of Town Club, Colonial House. Buddy, you got options. Out of Town Club. This is going to be news to my wife. That's where I'm going tonight for dinner. She didn't know it yet.
Okay.
Amanda, we're going to Out of Town Club, where I will have more old fashions that I know what to do with. And by the time our dinner is ready at our table, I will say, box it up. I'm good.
I already ate in liquid form.
I've had 17
yeah.
olives. I'm good.
Love it.
We love you, Wisconsin, and we will chat with you again Monday morning, 6 to 9, here on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We'll see you soon.
Because we're not done yet.